say rad?
Yeah.
I don't know if people still use that.
I'm older than I want to actually so, how would you see feeling like the non-travel scarcity and some of those younger guys that don't play as much?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Those guys, it can be challenging on those guys. They go from being really good players in high school to, being in a position right now where they're on scout team and not getting a whole lot of reps. So it's good. It brings in energy to practice. They have fun with it. I love to watch the older guys kind of rally around them as well. So it was good. We're thin at some positions. We had some guys that would just join the team as from a walk-on tryout, and we throw them in there. They don't necessarily know what they're doing, but it's important to get a chance to evaluate other guys at other positions. So we were able to make it work this week, and it was good.
James, how much of your evaluation for how to replace Andrew Nelson will be built on the information you already have with regards to the players you mentioned yesterday over the conference call, and what you'll evaluate over the next 7 to 10 days?
No, it'll be pretty much based on what we already know. The only thing that's probably a little bit new is Will Fries. It's still kind of been in a red shirt mentality, and now obviously he's closer to playing, so he's getting a little bit more reps in practice. But he had already been practicing up with the travel squad anyway, so a little bit more reps for him. But for the most part, it's based on what we've seen all camp.
Does that mean he's out of a red shirt, James, or you're still determining?
Yeah, he's not really out of the red shirt until we put him in the game, and it's not like right now he's showed that he's going to be the starter come the first play of the game. But if we have any other injuries, it's the discussion's over. So we had the discussion ahead of time with him and his family. I know he talked to his family, and he's ready to go whatever he needs to do. But he had a little bit of wiggle room before, and we don't really have any wiggle room left. So.
Have you ever had a discussion like that with a kid where they say no, like I want a red shirt?
Yeah. Huh?
How do you handle that? Obviously you guys have
well, typically that's usually a conversation in the summer where guys say, I really want a red shirt. At this point, guys see what's going on with the team, and they see their opportunity, and they see that, it's one thing we talk to them in the summer, and they don't know how big their role is going to be. It's another point now where, like Cam Brown, when you pull his red shirt, and he knows he's going to play a lot. So typically, that hasn't been a problem.
James, kind of taking a step back and looking at the big picture since this is the bye week, how do you think that this program has kind of lived up to expectations since you got here? What do you think has kind of gone right for you guys? What maybe hasn't gone quite as planned for you guys?
I think if you take everything into consideration, really you take everything into consideration. You take what happened here, you take recruiting, you take transfers, you take everything. You take coaching changes. I think pretty good. I think as coaches and as fans, you probably always want more. But the conference has changed dramatically. It's not leaders and what was it before? Leaders and legends. That's not. It's a completely different dynamic. That perspective. Different coaches in the league. You could make an argument our side of the conference, maybe the best conference in college football. So there's been a lot of things that have changed. I think pretty good, but you'd always like more. You always like better. But I think if you took the emotion out of it, and you weren't a Penn State fan, and you listed all the things, I think probably a lot of people would have taken where we're at this point.
Does this week give you a chance to do even more recruiting work than usual? And will you guys travel this week, or do you want to try to give the coaches some time to take a deep breath?
Yeah, no, there's really not time. The players will get time off. Actually, tomorrow we'll have myself and the GAs will have a practice with just the non-travel squad. We'll give the travel squad off. The coaches will get on the road. There's really not a time for the coaches to get some rest. It's more about the players. The coaches are used to this, so everybody will be out on the road again. I was out on Sunday and Monday. Some other coaches were as well, and then we'll be out all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Guys will be at games on Saturday, then we'll be back in on Sunday, and then instead of cleaning up Maryland, we've already done that. We'll be able to go right on Ohio State from the beginning, and we got some Ohio State work in today too. So no, we'll be on the road recruiting I think Friday I got games in high schools to go to. Saturday morning I'm going to East Stroudsburg because they're having the induction ceremony. So that just happened to fall on the weekend of our bye week. So I'm going to go there in the morning, and then I got a game to go to in the afternoon. So it'll be a busy weekend for everybody.
We've heard a lot about DeAndre Tompkins and John Reed, how they work together in the offseason to kind of make each other better, and obviously they're doing well this season. How does that make you feel as a coach to know that they kind of took the own initiative and help each other?
You said Tompkins, is it?
Tompkins and John Reed.
Yeah, I think that's really the expectation. I mean, guys should be taking ownership of the program. The way college football has changed now with the hours requirements and things like that, the players have to do that. The best programs in the country are player run. That's how Penn State was for a long time, with huge senior classes that taught the next generation. And we're working hard at getting that again. So we have that with guys like John Reed and Tompkins and other guys as well. Hamilton's been that guy. You look at all the guys out there on the field right now. So that's an important part of any successful program, is players taking ownership of the program.
When you have practice like tomorrow that's just non-travel guys, what exactly are you evaluating, and what more are you fine-tuning and coaching?
Yeah, it's really not about evaluation with these guys at this point. It's about development. It's about fundamentals and techniques. It's about getting them a little bit more reps and a little bit more attention than they normally would. And then the other thing, to be honest with you, it's a great opportunity for our graduate assistants to coach and run a practice when they normally wouldn't get that opportunity. So it gives me an opportunity to evaluate them. But that's probably the biggest evaluation that's going on, is evaluating the young coaches. And for the players, it's strictly, purely about development and giving them some more opportunities and some more individual attention.
What kind of things do you do? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll do individual sessions. We'll do some walkthroughs. We'll do some scrimmages like we did today. We'll do some 7-on-7s as well. The numbers won't allow us to do too much, but it'll be a similar practice, but it'll be the GAs running it. We'll combine some positions because we just don't have enough coaches to coach every position. So the quarterbacks and wide receivers will be together. The safeties and the corners will be together. Those types of things, but it's a watered down version of what we normally do.
Jake Zembek's been here since the winter. Where have you seen him progress from now, and since we're talking something?
During camp he had an injury that kind of really held him back and really didn't get an opportunity to do a whole lot. So he was behind from that standpoint. He came actually in from high school with an injury, so he was behind. So he's been playing catch up. He's really sharp mentally because he's gotten all those reps mentally in meetings and during spring. But he's just really getting caught up physically, to be honest with you. He's got a lot of ability, throws the deep ball really well. Needs to put a little bit more zip on the underneath stuff. Needs to get stronger just in general in his movements and his running ability and his ability to drive some of the throws that we need him to put a little bit more mustard on it. But he's been good. He's got a natural feel for the position, a natural feel for the game, but he needs a lot of physical development still.
Hey James, 62 carries. You don't go in thinking you're going to run the ball that many times. Did it happen? How much was organic and how much was it important to get the running game going?
You're talking about last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys heard me. I think I told you guys last week that that my conversation with Joe was that we needed to get Trace more involved in the running game, and whether that was be a little bit more aggressive with some of the zone reads, with the gray reads in the past have been given. And we've told him if he feels like he can beat those guys, pull it, which I think that helped us. But we also had some design runs going in the game plan as well. And I just think, like I mentioned to you guys before, when the quarterback is a threat, it helps everything out. It helps protection out. It helps Saquon and the rest of the running backs out because it gives them another legitimate threat. As you could see, when he was pulling the ball a bunch of those times, there was nobody to defend him whatsoever. That obviously is the reason why Saquon's been fighting for every yard, because people have been packing the box. So that's going to be something that we're going to continue to do moving forward. It was also great to see Tommy Stevens get in there and be able to run the ball as well. So we feel like we got two guys for sure right now at this point that can play and play at a high level for us. So it was part of what Maryland was giving us, but it was also part of our plan going in. It was kind of a combination of both. I don't think you go from the number of carries that we had to what we did last week with just one, them or us. It's got to be a combination to get to that point.
Time for two more.
Will you watch the Ohio State game Saturday night? I mean, obviously you'll watch it in your man cave, or what are you gonna do?
I think most of the coaches will be back. We'll probably be going mostly high school games in this area, in this region, are typically Saturday afternoon or Friday night, so most of us will be back. I usually just go sit down in the basement, put my girls to bed, just kind of veg out and relax. Having players over tonight. The last 2 nights we've had players over. It's been hard with my radio shows a little bit later this year to have them over on Thursdays. I usually just go down to the basement, sit there by myself, watch the game, walk upstairs, get a soda and some chips. It's not as exciting. It's not as glamorous as people think.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's not.
Coach, you really in Ohio State Prep Week. What are some things that set Urban Meyer teams apart? Not just in how talented they usually are, but how they react to adversity, how the coaching staff makes adjustments, things like that.
I think they're very talented. I think they're very, very talented. They're one of the more talented teams in the country and have been for a number of years. I think that's the number one thing that stands out to you. I think over that, they're very well coached across the positions. I think they're the two biggest factors. They're very talented and they're well coached, and they've been very consistent. I mean, his record speaks for itself. Combination of those factors. Thank you. Did you have something?
I was just going to talk. You hopped on ball security on last week during post game. I was just trying to figure out what was the progress that was made in that area for this week.
Yeah, I mean the progress you'll never know until you get to the games. I mean that's the production that you have in the games and the progress in terms of whether you protect the ball. We emphasized it this week. We did extra ball security drills. We also, on the defensive side of the ball, spent a lot of time focusing on tackling. We did double the tackling drills that we normally do, and then also block destruction, so getting off of blocks and things like that. So that was the emphasis on the defensive side of the ball. And on offense, it was really emphasizing ball security, not only in drill work but throughout practice, which we really always do. But obviously had a little bit more time this week. Awesome. Thanks, guys.